Okay, so finally for task 3, we've got to select the day with the highest midday temperature and the day with the lowest midday temperature. Select the day with the highest midday temperature and the day with the lowest midday temperature, then output these temperatures and the corresponding day with a suitable message. So this is all just array work, basically. So let's do task 3. Let's just work out what the lowest temperature is. So this is just basically asking you to find out what the smallest and the highest numbers are in the array. That's all they're doing. So let's do that. So if we do it for midday first, then we can just copy the code and do it for midnight. So we need to basically have a variable that's going to store the smallest in the array. And we have to set that to be a really high number to start with. And then we use a for loop, 0 to the length of the array, and that's midday, and there we go. And also what we need to do is check to see if the current item in the array is smaller than the smallest. So if the current item in the array, midday I, is less than smallest, then smallest is equal to midday I. Okay, that's going to find us the smallest in the array. Okay. Also what we need to do is we need to store where we found that item as well. So we need to do something slightly more. We need to store the day of the month that we found that. So I'm going to set that to be -1 to start with, and then once we found the smallest, we're going to store where that is, day equals I. So this will store which day of the month the smallest was found. Okay, so it's just store it. You know, if we had our array and our array has got sort of 5 items in it and it finds the smallest on the first day, that's going to be day 0, effectively day 0. Okay, so let's print some stuff out as well. The minimum temperature in the month was on day, and then put I, and then put print the minimum temperature was, sorry, that'd be the minimum temperature midday in the month was like that, and that will be smallest. Okay, so let's test this. Pause this if I'm going too fast. I probably am going too fast. Do keep pausing the video every time you need to. So let's run this, and it says we'll just enter some data. So I'll enter one so that I know that 3 is the smallest, and I'm just going to enter some random. I'm just going to enter the 6. There we are. So it says the minimum temperature on the midday of the month was on day 3. So actually that's incorrect. So we need to change that. The minimum temperature midday of the month was 3. So that's right, but the temperature, the day should be day 0. So let's have a look and see what I've done wrong in that code. And silly me, the reason why I got that error was I've got I there instead of day. Silly me. So I was printing out the wrong variable, so I'm just going to run that, and you can see my testing there before I realised what on earth I'd done. So the midday temperature, we'll have 4 as the smallest. No, actually we'll have a smaller one than that. We'll have 4. We'll have 2. So the second temperature is the smallest, and then I'm just going to enter some random data, and there we go. So it says the minimum temperature was on day 1. Well, actually this is day 0. It will be, remember this is a 0 indexed array, so the first one is 0. Here I've just got some debug here. So actually really what we need to do is the day of the week was, let me just delete that code there, that was me testing it. It's actually day plus 1. Because it's a 0 indexed array, you could have day 0, but it doesn't really make much sense. So let's try that again. The smallest is going to be There we go. The smallest is on day 4, which was 3. So that's 0. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so the last one is correct. Okay, so that's found the minimum. Now we can find the maximum. And all we have to do is we can change this to find the maximum temperature. And the maximum temperature is, we just change everything so that we find the largest. And we change all our variables that say smallest to largest. So let's do that first. Largest, and we've got largest and largest, and the maximum temperature each time, and largest. Good, so that's all changed, but this time we've got our largest set to 0, and instead of the smallest there, we're just doing the largest. We're changing our evaluator. You see what I did there? I had that one less than, it's going to now be greater than. Okay, so I'm just going to test this. It's a really, really quick change that. Obviously pause this if you need to catch up, and then enter the midday temperature. So let's do something really high. So let's do 78 for a high one, and then just have some lower ones as well. There we are. So the minimum temperature was on day 2. The highest was on day 1, which was 78. So that's good. Excellent. So that all works now. Let's just do the same for the midnight one. So all we have to do for the midnight one is copy all of that code for task 3 and paste it, and just change, instead of midday, everywhere where it says midday, we say midnight. So I'm just going to change that to midnight. Midnight, and midnight, midnight, midnight. There we go. And I'm just going to change my text as well. So the minimum temperature, midnight there as well. Midnight and midnight. Good. Okay, so let's run that, and it should work, hopefully. There we are. So the midnight temperature, the minimum temperature midnight on the month was on day 3, and it was 2, which is correct. Yeah, that's good. So it's day 3, and the maximum was 7, which was on day 4. Good. So that's the whole task done now, and you'll see that that's quite a nice, easy one. We have got some error messages. We could put some extra stuff in to check when the user enters the data that, you know, if they enter something that's incorrect, we could put some more sort of force them to enter something that is correct. But this is the whole task quite nicely, actually. It's a nice little task. So do have a look at this and make sure you've coded it all. Do pause the video if you need to. Get your code running. It's really important that you practice this.